Alright, hey guys, so Michael and I are headed out to Rome, Oregon, where we're going to be doing a load shift. What exactly are we doing? You want to tell them, Michael?
Yeah, 40-foot long steel beams.
40 feet long, yeah.
They were stacked too high. They decided to fold over on a sharp curve up there.
Saw some pictures and they're kind of, it's kind of bad. It's going to be some work because there's a lot of them, right?
Oh yeah,
There's
we're guessing about 2,000 pounds a piece.
Yeah, so it's going to be a lot of work. We're going to have to pretty much individually move them one by one. Some of them might be able to do it in groups. We'll see when we get there. But anyway, we'll be there in just a little bit. We're just going through the scale now. Man, those things are huge. They think. Okay, so just these angle irons, right?
So yeah, I try to wrap a chain right here on this side of the lumber, on this one, and then the far side of the lumber on this one, and then I'll get some pressure on them, and then we'll take them top three off.
Just like that?
Yep. So actually what I would like to see you do is you see how hold the hooks back up? So add some more links and then put the other hook to the chain, and that's going to be our straight down to the chain. So that's when we'll put the hook in there so it won't slide back and forth.
I got you. That's smart.
That gives us our sling area. Yeah.
And you want that in 3 places or 2 places? I heard you say you wanted it on the other.
So just that one right there.
Yeah.
And then the other 10-footer over here on the other side of this piece of wood. And then I'll get pressure on them, and then we'll take these 3 chains off.
Oh, I see.
But they're going to be a little spooky because those 3 chains are helping holding the center section of them lower ones on, so I don't want anybody on the trailer when we knock them loose.
Yeah, no, I'm definitely going to be clear when you go to do that. You're getting the heck out of it.
And Mike might hate it, but I think I'm gonna give this guy Mike's hard hat before he gets in there to undo those.
Well, he doesn't have to. Oh wait, he'll see the video. He'll know.
Yeah.
This side right here.
So yeah, if you go right there, we should be pretty close to center on those. Got some nice stuff out here. Let's look at it. Got a nice brake right here.
Oh really?
Yeah,
Looks like it hasn't been used in years.
To cut or bend metal. And they got a tire here for you. It says doggy potty.
Don't we have that extra yellow hard hat in here?
I don't think so.
Oh, thought we did. Okay.
Just grab that white hook and I'll feed it out to you.
Okay.
It's gonna come some.
Okay. All right. Whoops. Hang on a second. Yeah, go ahead and just get pressure on them. Make sure they're going to be how we want them before I get out of here.
You might need to just slide the chain under the load.
Oh yeah. Okay. There, try that. Yeah, there we go. Okay, so that one's good. Let me fix this one. Okay, go ahead and up on white. Okay.
All right, so sorry about the audio, guys. I think for some reason the little audio jack came out a little bit, and so we lost our audio. I got Michael here. We're gonna try and like do a voiceover, so I apologize for that. I had the jack, the mic go into my headset, and you could hear it at the beginning there. You could hear Michael really well. It was almost like he was standing next to me. So it was working, and then I think maybe the jack got pulled out, so that's something I'm gonna have to figure out how to...
Lame.
Yeah, I know. So anyway, so you guys can see we're just showing it in fast motion because it would take forever to show this, but we're just getting each one of the top layer off one by one.
Yeah, what you don't see is when we got there, the load shifted to the driver's side, and it shifted so far that it actually had the trailer separated from the fifth wheel plate by about 1.5 inches on the passenger side. So it's a pretty good lean over there. But here you can see he's really actually slow, but we're just in fast motion. But pretty simple. We're just unloading all of them from the top section so we can get to that lower section where it fell over, so that he can get them all stood back up and chained back down and on the road. So
looks like that's the last one there. We were really hopeful that we didn't have to unload every single one of those on the bottom side, but you'll see here in just a little bit there's kind of a shot of what we've taken off so far, just kind of showing us setting it down. We just kind of put it to the side of the truck.
Yeah, we were fortunate enough there was a bunch of holes in all this steel, so we could put some shackles in there.
Yeah, that made it a lot easier. Those things were pretty heavy, though. The big ones were around 3,000 pounds, and the smaller ones were around 2,000 pounds. So because of where we had to hook, it kind of put a little bit of an angle, as you can see right there. And we had to actually grab it and then like push it over to get them to sit down flat. Some of this is actually kind of out of order, but it just shows what we did as far as hooking to them and then rotating them over and putting them in place.
Yellow coat guy's slow. He needs to get a move on.
No kidding.
He's just playing around here.
So yeah, I think that one we just set down. Oh, we did turn, okay. So yeah, we're rotating, putting it over here. I really wish we had the audio. It was pretty cool. You could hear Michael and I talking to each other. Unfortunate that that happened, but was it 45,000 pounds of steel total? Is that right?
Yeah, I think you said between 45 and 46.
It was a lot of work. The whole thing took us, I think we were on scene for, was it a little over 4 hours?
Yeah, about 4 hours.
Getting those things off, so took longer than we thought. Initially, we actually only thought we'd be there a couple hours, but
That lower section showed to be a little bit of work.
yeah, which we'll get to here in just a minute. It'll show that lower section and what we did. Actually worked out to be pretty awesome. We thought we were going to have to individually take each one off one by one, but we were fortunate enough to actually be able to hook in to those holes with shackles and tip each one, which wasn't easy by any means because you need to make sure that they're perfectly flush. So you'll see it in a little bit. We had a grizzly bar, and we would use the grizzly bar to move it once we finally got it in place. So here's a shot of me just kind of grabbing it and
You're trying to manhandle it.
trying to manhandle it over and get it to sit down. Got my foot on it. There it goes. Michael wanted me to make sure I showed you guys his hammer idea.
So pretty sweet. So you stick that hammer right there and it keeps them boards from sliding out. All the pressure on the far side, we were worried about them lower boards sliding out this side of the truck. So we did a nice little job sticking some hammers right in front of there, so the worst they could do is wedge against the head of the hammer.
It is a cool idea. I gotta admit, it is a cool idea. He wanted to make sure that was in the video, so there it is.
Holy moly. I'm way off the ground right there. What the heck?
That's super high for you. Oh my gosh.
What was I thinking?
That's awesome.
Don't try this at home.
Oh my gosh. You're like a foot off the ground.
That's 3 feet too high. All right, what you're gonna see here is you see I got the two main lines of that boom going out with our Miller frame chains to hook that outside beam that's just hanging out there in the sky. Once we got hooked onto those, we were able to let loose of the chains that were going over. And then you see I got snatch blocks in here on them lower lines. Those were what we were actually using to stand these first 3 pieces of angle iron back up on the trailer so we didn't have to remove it all. So a nice part of having 4 winches on a boom. Just slap some snatch blocks in there and stand them up.
Yeah, we were. He's gonna take the chains off here. We were kind of little scared a little bit when he took those off, but we were holding it so it didn't even move. We thought as soon as he busted those loose, it was gonna try and shift, but thankfully, the way we have it rigged here, they didn't move an inch. It worked out really well the way we have it grabbed.
But yeah, he'll just finish loosening them chains up. Then before we really started standing a bunch of them up, we slung his chains back over and just used our ratchet binder so that they wouldn't go flop in the opposite direction and fall off the trailer on the rotator side.
Yeah, that made a huge difference. That was awesome when we decided to make that move. They were a little tippy, so like you said, we wrapped a chain around it, which we should get a shot here of that in a minute. And used our chain binder to just make sure it wasn't going to go anywhere.
That would always be nice. Have one of the big old pieces of iron land on the rotator.
Oh my gosh, you imagine? Okay, so you can see we got
one up there.
One up there. This worked out pretty slick. So yeah, we just one by one we'd put our shackle. Luckily there's holes all over these things. We could get shackles on the ends of them, and then Michael would wire out and I'd hook to it, and we were able to just wire in slowly.
Yeah, here we go, standing up second one it looks like. I think we got 2 or 3 of these, and then we actually had to come up with a different plan because now we were getting too far away from the rotator side of the truck with our lines, and we were worried about them just sliding the beams instead of standing them up. But I believe the second and third one stood up all right, and then after that we had to change it up. There's our ratchet binder you see there I just walked past, so we could loosen them up or tighten them up as we were standing each one of these I-beams up.
Having a rotator definitely made this job a lot easier. I don't know. This would have been really difficult without a rotator.
There'd have been a lot of back and forth.
A lot of back and forth. That was actually probably the most challenging part was, well, I would say it definitely was getting these things to tip back up and making sure they were perfectly flush, because if they weren't, by the time you got to the end, you wouldn't have enough room on the trailer because these barely fit. But one by one, we were able to tip them up, and then there'll be a picture of them all tipped up here in just a little bit.
Yeah, it looks like we got 2 up. We're on the 3rd. I believe this 3rd one is the last one that we did with the lower deck lines, and then I run a chain over the outside corners of that one that was hanging off on the driver's side there, and run it over to the corner. You can kind of see it there. Dustin just walked past it. So there's a good view of the chain.
Yeah,
went over that
go.
corner and went to the back corner of the trailer to help hold it.
Oh, I felt so much better after that.
So we could let go with the main lines on that boom, and then start using the boom to stand the main lines off the boom to stand the rest of them up.
That was a game changer, putting those chains on them, because every time we would try to move another one, the ones that were stood up would tip. I mean, it didn't take much, right? They would just sit there and tip, and it was like getting spooky. So yeah, we put those frame chains around it and wrapped it, and then chain bind it on, and it was way better.
Yeah, now we just use the main lines to stand the rest of them up.
We started getting better at it. Each one we got a little faster, a little quicker, and we were able to tip them up.
Well, most of the time was spent after they tipped up using the grizzly bar.
Yes.
You know, you got a guy at each end of that, 40-foot piece of steel trying to slide it to the next one, so it takes a little bit to get both ends flush.
Mm-hmm. And at 3,000 pounds, that's not much for the rotator, but when you're trying to move these things by hand, that's a lot of weight, especially for being so long. So yeah, we just used the grizzly bar, and we were able to push them to get them flush. Okay, so this is a shot from up above of doing each one. So we're going to do the 3rd piece here. I have my side done already, and I'm bringing the other winch line over to the driver of the semi. So I'm handing him his side as he's putting the shackles in those holes. He was a lot of help. He worked hard. This was a big job for just 2 guys, so having him was pretty handy. He was a good helper.
I think he was ready to get out of there.
Oh, he was. He was ready to get the heck out of there. He was there all night. But yeah, you can see we're getting that one hooked. And okay, looks like I'm going to hook the other side now.
And look, I'm on the ground where I belong.
But yeah, that was pretty much it. We started getting a little better at it each time. So you just kind of grab each end, and then Michael would wire in a little bit and get that thing to just kind of flop over. Definitely wanted to watch your fingers when those things came over, because when they came over quick. It's kind of a weird angle each time, so we actually had to put in a couple snatch blocks just to get it up high enough to be able to hook into it.
That way it didn't get caught in between the pieces of iron and when you stood it up.
Right. Then, of course, each time we'd wire in, we'd have to go slow and make sure none of the shackles were getting side loaded, which wasn't difficult. It was just something to keep an eye on as we did it. But here it is coming up here. Definitely wanted to go nice and slow.
And as even as possible.
And as even as possible, yeah. If you were off, I mean, it would mess up the entire load because they were on there so tight. But that's where the grizzly bar came in handy. We were able to move them over and get them really flush and tight. There, I'm just making sure the chain's not going to try and get, in between each piece of steel. So I'm making sure my hands are completely clear, but that the chain's not going to get stuck in there when it comes over.
Yeah, something nice to pull on too to help stand it up.
True, which was I was doing right there. I was pulling on it, yeah. Like I said, we got better after each one. This one wasn't our best one. We got better as we went, but
Yeah, you just start slow and Sped up.
Yep, we got better at it. So here we'll just unhook and we'll grab the grizzly bar and start sliding it over. All right, so here's the fourth one.
Getting her done quick now.
Yeah, getting it done a little easier. I didn't end up recording every single one of them because once you've seen us do, you know, one or two of them, you've seen them all. But I did want to make sure we got some of it so you kind of saw how we tilted each one up.
I was just trying to slide that lower section over as far as we could.
That way there's less work with the grizzly bar. So Michael's standing on the end of it so you can see him there and watching it as we go, making sure he get it as close as we can, and then there's the grizzly bar. And I would just move it over one side, then Michael would take the grizzly bar, bring it over to the driver, and he would move his a little bit. And we just kind of kept working it like that and got him flush each time.
Except I didn't have my phone on me, so it didn't count my steps that day.
You had a lot of steps walking back and forth, yeah. Definitely got our workout in for the day. That was a pretty good job. There he is walking over to the other side. Here comes another piece of steel up. Same thing.
But you can see on those other four that you saw there, you got to keep them pretty darn close to each other. Again, that limited space on the trailer, but then on the other side is when he tightens down his chains, when he binds it down, if we don't have all that space taken up and have them next to each other, he'll just take it up when he tightens them up, and then they stand a good chance of falling over again.
Did he ever say what was the biggest reason for why he lost him in the first place? Because he said he had him chained tight.
Yeah, he didn't know. He said he turned that corner and
yeah,
he saw him sway once and then turn the next corner and off they went.
Yeah. So we made sure we got him really, really tight this time. And made sure it was all flush and perfect. And
I think a lot of it, though, was I'm pretty sure the first time he loaded it, they put that bottom section on. He put his chain binders on tight, and then they loaded
that's right.
The second section. You'll see later on in this one, he snugs them up with this lower section, and then we set the top section on, so the top section will hold them all down flush to the bottom of this trailer, the boards that they're sitting on, because he found out that if he tried to just tighten them up the way that they were, that they would jump over the top of each other, and then that would also cause it to lean again. So we put the second row up top, and then you really tighten the bottom, and that seemed to hold them extremely tight.
Yeah, that made a big difference for sure. Here comes the fourth one.
Fourth, that's like fifth. 1, 2, that's the fifth.
Oh, yeah, it is the fifth one. Yep, there it goes. That one sat nice. I didn't have to move it much with the grizzly bar. But yeah, then you just take that off and on to the next one. Use the grizzly bar and get it where we want it. They had a bow. Some of them had a bow in it, so even though it looked flush on my side, the center of it wasn't. So there's a good shot showing them, almost all of them.
All right, looks like here we're getting the last of his pieces set back up there so he could tie it down and get ready for our 100-mile trip back home. He was 100 miles away from home that day. That load's looking much better.
Way better. That's the last of it.
Yeah, there's the last pieces right there, that little bundle.
Okay, and that'll do it. Thanks for watching, everybody. Like and subscribe, and we'll see y'all in the next one. God bless. Ha 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 ha.